हेलो। वेलकम बैक एवरीवन। सो आज थोड़ा लेट हो गए स्ट्रीम स्टार्ट करने में। सो फटाफट शुरू करते हैं। आज हम क्या करने वाले हैं। सो सो अब अगले कुछ दिनों तक मैं सोच रहा हूँ वी शुड लर्न अबाउट हाउ टू यूज़ जीपीटी। मतलब हम सब लोग जीपीटी, मतलब खासकर डेवलपर, जो भी सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर है या फिर स्टूडेंट्स है, उन लोगों के लिए बहुत ज़रूरी है कि उनको पता हो कि एआई में क्या क्या डेवलपमेंट हर रोज़ हो रहे हैं। सो उनके बारे में हमको पता होना चाहिए। तो अगले कुछ दिन मैं इसी के बारे में पढ़ने वाला हूँ कि एलएलएम मतलब लार्ज लैंग्वेज मॉडल, जैसे कि चैट जीपीटी है, गूगल जेमिनी है, क्लोड है। जो बहुत सारे अभी ऐसे मॉडल मार्केट में अवेलेबल हैं। तो एक छोटा सा मैं मतलब अ, मैं खुद ही पढ़ूंगा वैसे तो, बट तुम्हारे अगर कोई क्वेश्चंस है तो वो तुम चैट में पूछ सकते हो। सो आज हमारा डे 1 है इसके बारे में पढ़ते हुए। एंड वीक 1 का हमारा टारगेट है टू अंडरस्टैंड द एलएलएम लैंडस्केप। मतलब एलएलएम जो लार्ज लैंग्वेज मॉडल है, उसका पूरा इकोसिस्टम क्या है। जो डिफरेंट मॉडल है, ये GPT-4 हुआ, क्लाउड हुआ, जेमिनी हुआ, इनमें क्या डिफरेंस है। ओपन वे प्लेग्राउंड क्या है, हगिंग फेस क्या है, क्लोड को क्या है, और इसके कुछ फ्री कोर्सेज हैं। सो सबसे पहले हमको पता होना चाहिए एआई मॉडल्स क्या होते हैं। व्हाट इज़ जीपीटी, व्हाट आर एआई मॉडल। सो इसने सजेस्ट करा है कि फायरशिप के ट्यूटोरियल तुम देख सकते हो। तो मैं ट्यूटोरियल देख रहा हूँ लेकिन मेरे को कुछ मिला नहीं। सो लास्ट में हम, अगर कुछ नहीं मिलता है तो लेट्स जस्ट सर्च व्हाट इज़ नॉट जीपीटी यार, जीपीटी द ललन टॉप। भाई ये क्यों बता रहा है चैट जीपीटी के बारे में। मेरे को चाहिए फायरशिप की वीडियो। अगर नहीं मिलती है, सो आई गेस ये सब बेकार चीज़ें हैं। यूट्यूब से पढ़ना बेकार है। हम पढ़ेंगे सिर्फ चैट जीपीटी यूज़ करके। वी विल अंडरस्टैंड क्या है चैट जीपीटी। सो हमको ये सारी चीज़ें जो करनी है वो एक टैब में खोल लेते हैं, एंड एक अलग से एक और टैब खोल लेते हैं चैट जीपीटी का। सो आज का सबसे फर्स्ट क्या है, एलएलएम को समझना कि व्हाट इज़ एलएलएम। सो लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द क्वेश्चन। तो हम यही चीज़ें इधर से उठा के इस वाले चैट जीपीटी से क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे, एंड यहीं से हमको पता चलेगा कि इसका LLM क्या है। सो लार्ज लैंग्वेज मॉडल आर अ टाइप ऑफ आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस डिजाइन टू अंडरस्टैंड एंड जनरेट ह्यूमन लाइक टेक्स्ट। सो लार्ज लैंग्वेज मॉडल है ऐसे मशीन लर्निंग के मॉडल्स जो नेचुरल स्पीकिंग, जो हमारी लैंग्वेज है एकदम उसमें हमको आंसर्स दे। They are trained on vast amount of textual data and use advanced mathematical techniques to model the pattern. So जो एक मॉडल की वर्किंग होती है उसमें बहुत सारे मैथमेटिकल चीज़ें होती हैं, तो वो तो हम नहीं देखेंगे। लेकिन जब हम हमारे पास मॉडल बन चुका है, उसके बाद हमको उस मॉडल को ट्रेन करना पड़ता है डेटा पे। सो उसके बारे में हम देख सकते हैं कि जो चैट जीपीटी या एलएलएम है वो किस डेटा पे ट्रेन हुआ है। जहाँ तक मेरे को पता है, जितनी भी बुक्स, फ्री बुक्स या फिर विकिपीडिया, इस पे जितने भी टेक्स्ट अवेलेबल था ये सब यूज़ करा है चैट जीपीटी को ट्रेन करने में. Here's a breakdown of what LLM are, how they work and how they differ from one another. Okay. So LLM are machine learning model. So ये बेसिक चीज़ है. जो भी AI है ये सब मशीन लर्निंग का पार्ट है. मशीन लर्निंग अपने आप में एक बहुत बड़ा फील्ड है. अब उसके अंदर फिर बहुत सारे पार्ट हो जाते हैं, जैसे नेचुरल लैंग्वेज प्रोसेसिंग उसका एक पार्ट है, AI उसका एक पार्ट है, डीप लर्निंग उसका एक पार्ट है. सो टिपिकली बेस्ड ऑन डीप लर्निंग. सो जो LLM है वो डीप लर्निंग के का सब टॉपिक है. Based on deep learning architectures like transformer that can understand and generate natural language text. So जैसे जैसे हम आगे पढ़ते जाएंगे हमको पता चलेगा कि ट्रांसफॉर्मर्स क्या होते हैं इन मशीन लर्निंग. तुमको एक बिजली वाले ट्रांसफॉर्मर पता होगा, लेकिन इसमें हमको पता चलेगा मशीन लर्निंग वाले ट्रांसफॉर्मर्स क्या होते हैं. एंड ऑल्सो वी विल अंडरस्टैंड transformer can understand and generate natural language text, answers question, summarize articles, translate language, write code and more. Learn pattern, grammar, fact, reasoning and even some level of common sense knowledge. So ये सब बता रखा है कि LLM की capabilities क्या क्या है. They are large because they contain hundreds of millions of trillions of parameters. The values learned during training that define the model's behavior. Okay. So जो भी डाटा एक मॉडल इंजेस्ट करता है, मतलब जितने भी डेटा पे मॉडल ट्रेनिंग करता है वो आई थिंक उसके बेसिस पे अपनी एक थिंकिंग तो नहीं बोल सकते क्योंकि वो एआई है, बट हाउ ए मॉडल विल रिस्पॉन्ड ये सब उसी डेटा पे डिपेंड करता है. एंड जितना ज़्यादा डेटा हम उसको उसको ट्रेनिंग के लिए देंगे उतने ज़्यादा पैरामीटर्स वो बना पाएगा एंड उतने मीनिंगफुल आंसर हमको दे पाएगा. So LLMs are primarily based on Transformers architecture introduced in 2017. So 2017 से शुरुआत हुई थी ट्रांसफॉर्मर आर्किटेक्चर की. उससे पहले मतलब मशीन लर्निंग तो बहुत पहले से है लेकिन इतना पावरफुल नहीं था जितना आज है. इसके की कंसेप्ट में आते हैं टोकन, एम्बेडिंग्स, अटेंशन मैकेनिज्म. टोकन्स क्या होते हैं? टेक्स्ट इज ब्रोकन इनटू स्मॉलर पीसेस, उनको हम टोकन बोलते हैं. ओके, सो टेक्स्ट को हम छोटे छोटे वर्ड्स या ग्रुप ऑफ वर्ड्स में डिवाइड कर देते हैं, उसको हम टोकन बोलते हैं. एम्बेडिंग क्या होते हैं? टोकन्स आर कन्वर्टेड इनटू न्यूमेरिकल वेक्टर. फिर उन टोकन को भी न्यूमेरिकल वेक्टर्स में कन्वर्ट करते हैं. जैसे एक मैंने एग्जांपल देखा था इसको, जिसे तुम अंडरस्टैंड कर पाओ कि वेक्टर क्या, कैसे वेक्टर काम करते हैं. तो जैसे एआई की बात करें, जैसे हमने दिया एक वेक्टर किंग, ठीक है. किंग में से हमने माइनस कर दिया मैन एंड ऐड कर दिया वुमेन. तो एआई को पता है इसका आंसर क्या होगा. एआई विल आंसर क्वीन. सो जो मॉडल्स होते हैं वो इस तरह टेक्स्ट को वेक्टर में कन्वर्ट करके न्यूमेरिकल कैलकुलेशंस करते हैं. Then attention mechanism. The model learns to focus on relevant part of the input when generating response. That is, attends to important words in context. मतलब कुछ जैसे जो हमारी लैंग्वेज होती है जिसमें इसमें ये वर्ड है टू, ऑन, ऑफ, द, तो मॉडल को पता होता है कि कौन से वर्ड पे फोकस करना है, कौन से वर्ड पे कम फोकस करना है. इसको बोलते हैं अटेंशन मैकेनिज्म. किस वर्ड को ज़्यादा अटेंशन देनी है, किस वर्ड को कम अटेंशन. Then training uses a massive dataset of books, websites, articles, etc. Learns to predict the next words in a sentence. Self-supervised learning. So I will just pin this message. मेरा टारगेट मतलब अभी मैं खुद सीख रहा हूँ, सो ऐसा मत समझना कि मैं बाकी लोगों को पढ़ा रहा हूँ, मैं खुद सीख रहा हूँ। सो लेकिन मीनवाइल मैं, अगर आप लोगों का कोई क्वेश्चंस होता है तो वो आंसर करने के लिए मैं अवेलेबल हूँ। उसके बाद ट्रेनिंग। सो यूजेस मैसिव डेटा सेट ऑफ बुक्स, वेबसाइट, आर्टिकल्स एक्सेट्रा। सो मॉडल को, एलएलएम को क्या चाहिए ट्रेनिंग के लिए? बहुत सारा टेक्स्ट। टेक्स्ट कहाँ से मिलेगा? बुक, विकिपीडिया, आर्टिकल्स, डिफरेंट वेबसाइट, लर्न्स। और मॉडल क्या करता है बेसिकली? वो ये लर्न करता है कि अगर मेरे को दो वर्ड पता है, सो उससे मैं नेक्स्ट जो आने वाला वर्ड है वो कैसे प्रेडिक्ट करूं। ये होता है लर्न्स टू प्रेडिक्ट द नेक्स्ट वर्ड इन अ सेंटेंस। इसको बोलते हैं सेल्फ सुपरवाइज्ड लर्निंग। ये भी हम आगे पढ़ेंगे क्या होती है। फाइन ट्यूनिंग ऑप्शनल। आफ्टर बेस ट्रेनिंग, models can be fine tuned on specific tasks like coding, medical, QA, customer support. सो इसका मतलब है कि एक बेसिक रिक्वायरमेंट होती है, वो हर मॉडल को आई गेस क्वालिफाई करनी होती है। जैसे अगर हम किसी भी मॉडल से पूछ लेंगे कि 2 × 2 + 2 कितना होता है, तो वो हर एक मॉडल को बताएगा कि 4 होता है। लेकिन उसके बाद कोई मॉडल को हम ट्रेन कर देंगे ज़्यादा मेडिकल डेटा पे, किसी को कस्टमर सपोर्ट की, कस्टमर सपोर्ट कैसे हैंडल करते हैं, कस्टमर से कैसे बात करनी होती है, किसी को कोडिंग पे कि वो कोड जनरेशन में ज़्यादा अच्छा परफॉर्म करेगा। तो ये होता है फाइन ट्यूनिंग कि बेस मॉडल जो बन चुका है उसको अलग से फिर ट्रेन करना किसी एक स्पेसिफिक फील्ड में। अब होता है मेजर डिफरेंस बिटवीन एलएलएम। सो अभी मार्केट में जो एलएलएम्स अवेलेबल है, जैसे जीपीटी, क्लोड, जेमिनी, मिस्ट्रल, लामा, गामा, इन सब में क्या डिफरेंस है? तो एक तो होता है पैरामीटर्स। पैरामीटर्स डिफरेंट डिफरेंट होते हैं सबके। एंड नॉर्मली ये मानते हैं कि जितने ज़्यादा पैरामीटर पे कोई मॉडल ट्रेन किया हुआ है, उसके रिस्पॉन्सेज उतने अच्छे होंगे। एंड देन सबसे मेन है आर्किटेक्चर, कि वो कौन से आर्किटेक्चर पे बना है। सो ज़्यादातर तो ट्रांसफॉर्मर आर्किटेक्चर पे बने हैं जो टेक्स्ट जनरेशन वाले मॉडल होते हैं, जैसे जीपीटी, क्लाउड, जेमिनी, लामा, गैमा। लेकिन उसके बाद कुछ मिक्सचर ऑफ एक्सपर्ट्स, मतलब 2 3 आर्किटेक्चर मिक्स करके, या फिर ट्रांसफॉर्म, हाँ मतलब वही रिट्रीवल ऑगमेंटेड जनरेशन, मतलब ये भी आर्किटेक्चर होते हैं। बट मोस्टली ट्रांसफॉर्मर आर्किटेक्चर भी बने हुए होते हैं, तो सो हम इसके बारे में पढ़ेंगे सबसे ज़्यादा। नोटेबल डिफरेंस, ये टेक्स्ट, विजन एंड ऑडियो तीनों पे काम करता है। क्लाउड फोकस ऑन एथिक्स एंड अलाइनमेंट, ये ज़्यादा एथिकल चीज़ों पे फोकस करता है। जेमिनी गूगल के प्रोडक्ट के साथ इंटीग्रेट के लिए है। मिस्ट्रल ओनली पार्ट्स ऑफ द मॉडल एक्टिवेट्स पर इनपुट। अच्छा, मतलब एक काइंड ऑफ एफिशिएंसी के लिए है मिस्ट्रल, कि पूरा मॉडल एक्टिवेट नहीं होगा, अगर हमारे जो क्वेश्चन है उसके हिसाब से मॉडल का कुछ पार्ट एक्टिवेट होगा। लामा अवेलेबल फॉर रिसर्चर्स एंड डेवलपर। कमांड सूटेड फॉर एंटरप्राइज नेचुरल लैंग्वेज प्रोसेसिंग। और कैमा गुड फॉर लोकल डिप्लॉयमेंट्स। ठीक है। सो ये हमारा था कि व्हाट आर एलएलएम्स, लार्ज लैंग्वेज मॉडल्स। सो एक चीज़ हमको पता चल गई कि इसमें 3 4 चीज़ें मेन है। जैसे एक ट्रांसफॉर्मर आर्किटेक्चर। ट्रांसफॉर्मर आर्किटेक्चर के बाद कुछ इसमें कंसेप्ट है, जैसे टोकन क्या होते हैं, एम्बेडिंग्स, अटेंशन मैकेनिज्म एंड फाइन ट्यूनिंग। सो ये सारी चीज़ें हमने देख ली है। अब देखते हैं इसके बाद हम नेक्स्ट टॉपिक क्या है हमारा। हमने ये देख लिया पॉपुलर एलएल्एम्स एंड उसको कंपेयर कर लिया। The third is try the tools hands on, play with the models, OpenAPI playground. Let's see ये क्या है OpenAPI playground। uh, try prompting each with the same question, like what is quantum computing in simple terms, and compare answers। अच्छा, play का मतलब यूज करो मॉडल्स को। so let's open these in a different। हमको साइन इन करना पड़ेगा क्या सबके लिए? ओपन एपीआई प्लेटफॉर्म स्पेस हगिंग फेस। इस पे बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं, तो एक बार हम कंफर्म करते हैं कि हमको सीखना क्या है एग्जैक्टली। उसके बाद हम एक कोई फ्री कोर्स है फोकस ऑन चैप्टर 1 and 2 अबाउट ट्रांसफॉर्मर्स एंड यूजिंग मॉडल्स, इसके बारे में थोड़ा पढ़ेंगे। ऑप्शनल बट रिकमेंडेड। ओके। A7 reflects and summarizes what did you learn, which model stood out and why, any terms or tools you are still unclear about. This helps reinforce what you have learned। ठीक है, तो ये हमारा प्रोसेस है। सो लेट्स सी। OpenAPI Playground is an interactive web-based interface that allow you to experiment with OpenAI language model using flexible set of controls. Key features on the OpenAPI Playground: model selection. You can choose between GPT-4, 3.5 and other models. If you have GPT-4 access via ChatGPT Plus, you can use it in the playground. Okay. Adjustable parameters. These settings let you fine tune how the model behaves. Temperature 0 to 2 controls, randomness lower, more focus slash deterministic, higher, more creative, varied. Okay. So ये different parameter हैं. Top P nucleus sampling, एक है alternative to temperature for controlling randomness. Max token limits response length. Frequency penalty discourages repetition. Presence penalty encourages topic diversity। ठीक है। Modes chat completion, chat for conversational agents, completion for classic prompt slash response format. You can provide a system prompt to set behavior or tone. Example, you are a friendly assistant। Okay. Save your prompt session, share link with others, view code, generate Python or curl code to call the OpenAI API with your current settings। How to access the playground? Go to this, sign up with your OpenAI account। ठीक है। Example use case, let's say you want to generate a creative story। Model ChatGPT 4, temperature 1, max tokens 300, prompt write a whimsical bedtime story about a cat that can control the weather। You will get a vivid creative response. Lowering the temperature would make the story more logical and less imaginative। ओके। सो ये है चैट जीपीटी प्लेग्राउंड। चलो लॉगिन करते हैं। लेट्स कंटिन्यू विद गूगल। चलो इनमें से कोई सा भी यूज़ नहीं करते हैं। लॉगिंग वाला पार्ट इग्नोर करते हैं अभी। ये देख लेंगे हम बाद में। अभी करते हैं डीप डाइव, जो है हगिंग फेस कोर्स। आई गेस ये हमने कोर्स ओपन करा हुआ है। इसमें हमको ये पहले दो पार्ट पे फोकस करना है: ट्रांसफॉर्मर मॉडल्स एंड बड़ा ट्रांसफॉर्मर, फिर फाइन ट्यूनिंग, टोकनाइजर, ये सब चीज़ें बाद में। सो ये है इंट्रोडक्शन। व्हाट्स द डिफरेंस? सो अंडरस्टैंडिंग एनएलपी एंड एलएलएम। While this course was originally focused on natural language processing, it has evolved to emphasize large language models, which represent the latest advancement in the fields। Okay, difference क्या है? NLP is a broader field focused on enabling computer to understand, interpret, and generate human language. These many techniques such as sentiment analysis, name entity recognition, machine translation। LLM क्या है? पावरफुल सबसेट ऑफ NLM. सो NLM एक काइंड ऑफ फील्ड है पूरा, एंड उस इसके लिए जो हमने मॉडल्स बनाए हैं उनको हम बोलते हैं LLMs. ये सब हमने पढ़ ही लिया. Chapter 1 to 4 provide an introduction to the main concept of the transformer library. By the end of this part of the course, you will be familiar with how transformer model works and will know how to use a model from the Hugging Face hub, fine tune it on a dataset and share your result on the hub. चलो chapter 1 to 4. Let's this course requires a good knowledge of Python, is better taken after an introductory deep learning course such as Fast AI Practical Deep Learning for Coder or one of the program developed by deeplearning.ai. Does not expect prior PyTorch or TensorFlow knowledge, though some familiarity with either of those will help. अगर आपको LLM या फिर NLP का कोर्स स्टार्ट करना है तो ये प्री रिक्विजिट है. आपको पाइथन की अच्छी नॉलेज होनी चाहिए एंड डीप लर्निंग एक इंट्रोडक्टरी कोर्स होना चाहिए. So let's see all this. Let's see this course. So in this course we have two part, but yeah, it's very lengthy. We won't be able to do it. And let's this see this also deep learning AI. AI is the new electricity. You are the spark. Explore courses. AI Python for beginner. हमको क्या बोला इसने, क्या पढ़ना है हमको? और one of the program developed by deeplearning.ai. सो हमको इंट्रोडक्टरी डीप लर्निंग कोर्स करना है कोई भी. आर दीज ऑल फ्री? Mathematician, mathematics for machine learning and data science. Yeah, this is good course. Let's explore all courses. Then we will see course, short course specialization, beginner, intermediate. Let's say set it to beginner. मेरे को लगता नहीं ये सारे कोर्सेज. 6 hour course. And सो ये आई थिंक हम मतलब पूरा एनरोल करना पड़ेगा और ये कोर्स लंबा चलेगा कि हम एक टॉपिक कंप्लीट करेंगे उसके बाद ही दूसरे पे जा पाएंगे. तो ये बहुत लेंथी हो जाएगा. इससे अच्छा ये वाला कोर्स है, जब जिस टॉपिक में हमारा मन करे हम उसमें जा सकते हैं. ओके, सो लेट्स स्टार्ट विथ in this lesson you're going to hit the ground. So I will मैं अभी फोकस मोड में जाने वाला हूँ, बट मैं चैट देखता रहूँगा.
Welcome to Practical Deep Learning for Coders Lesson 1. This is version 5 of this course.
ये 1.5 घंटे का कोर्स है, इतनी लंबी वीडियो तो नहीं देखी जाएगी. Every lesson include lots of hands-on exercise for you to try. Most of these are run in interactive notebooks, all of which are available on Kaggle. If you don't work through the notebook yourself, you are not going to get nearly as much out of this course. So that means you need to get set up on Kaggle. We have a page to help you get going with Kaggle. Click here to go there now. Instead of using Kaggle, another great option is Paperspace Gradient. If you don't have a Paperspace account yet, sign up with this link to get $10 credit, and we get a credit too.
And it's the first new one we've done in 2 years. So we've got a lot of cool things to cover. It's amazing how much has changed. Here is a XKCD from the end of 2015. Who here has seen XKCD comics before? Pretty much everybody, not surprising. So the basic joke here is, I'll let you read it, and then I'll come back to it. So it can be hard to tell what's easy and what's nearly impossible. And in 2015, or at the end of 2015, the idea of checking whether something is a photo of a bird was considered nearly impossible. So impossible, it was the basic idea of a joke, because everybody knows that that's nearly impossible. We're now going to build exactly that system for free in about 2 minutes. So let's build an is it a bird system. So we're going to use Python. And so I'm going to run through this really quickly. You're not expected to run through it with me, because we're going to come back to it. Okay, but let's go ahead and run that cell. Okay, so what we're doing is we're searching to, DuckDuckGo for images of bird photos, and we're just going to grab one. And so here is the URL of the bird that we grabbed. Okay, we'll download it. Okay, so there it is. So we've grabbed a bird, and so, okay, we've now got something that can download pictures of birds. Now, we're going to need to build a system that can recognize things that are birds versus things that aren't birds from photos. Now, of course, computers need numbers to work with, but luckily, images are made of numbers. I actually found this really nice website called PixSpy, where I can grab a bird, and if I wiggle over it, let's pick its beak, you'll see here that that part of the beak was 251 brightness of red, 48 of green, and 21 of blue. So that's RGB. And so you can see as I wave around, those colors are changing, those numbers. And so this, this picture, the thing that we recognize as a picture, is actually 256 by 171 by 3 numbers between 0 and 255, representing the amount of red, green, and blue on each pixel. So that's going to be an input to our program. It's going to try and figure out whether this is a picture of a bird or not. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this cell. which is going to go through, and I needed bird and non-bird, but you can't really search Google Images or DuckDuckGo Images for not a bird. This doesn't work that way. So I just decided to use forest. I thought, okay, pictures of forest versus pictures of bird sounds like a good starting point. So I go through each of forest and bird, and I search for forest photo and bird photo, download images, and then resize them to be no bigger than 400 pixels on a side, just because we don't need particularly big ones. It takes a surprisingly large amount of time just for a computer to open an image. Okay, so we've now got 200 of each. I find when I download images, I often get a few broken ones, and if you try and train a model with broken images, it will not work. So here's something which just verifies each image and unlinks, so deletes the ones that don't work. Okay, so now we can create what's called a data block. So after I run this cell, you'll see that I'll go through the details of this later, but a data block gives FastAI, the library, all the information it needs to create a computer vision model. And so in this case, we're basically telling it, get all the image files that we just downloaded. And then we say, show me a few, up to 6. And let's see, yeah, so we've got some birds, forest, bird, forest. Okay, so one of the nice things about doing computer vision models is it's really easy to check your data because you can just look at it, which is not the case for a lot of kinds of models. Okay, so we've now downloaded 200 pictures of birds, 200 pictures of forests. So we'll now press run. And this model is actually running on my laptop. So this is not using a vast data center. It's running on my presentation laptop, and it's doing it at the same time as my laptop is streaming video, which is possibly a bad idea. And so what it's going to do is it's going to run through every photo out of those 400. And for the ones that are forest, it's going to learn a bit more about what forest looks like. And for the ones that are bird, it'll learn a bit more about what bird looks like. So overall, it took under 30 seconds. And believe it or not, that's enough to finish doing the thing which was in that XKCD comic. Let's check by passing in that bird that we downloaded at the start. This is a bird. Probability it's a bird, 1, rounded to the nearest 4 decimal places. So something pretty extraordinary has happened since late 2015, which is literally something that has gone from so impossible it's a joke to so easy that I can run it on my laptop computer in, I don't know how long it was, about 2 minutes. And so hopefully that gives you a sense that creating really
तो ये इसने बताया है कि 2015 में ये आइडेंटिफाई करना कि ये फ़ोटो कोई बर्ड की है या फिर किसी डॉग की है, किसी एनिमल की है, बहुत मतलब ऑलमोस्ट इम्पॉसिबल था। एंड सेम अब 2 मिनट का काम है। सेम चीज़ अब हमको 2 मिनट लगते हैं एक मॉडल को उठा के ट्रेन करने में, और वो 2 मिनट के अंदर तुमको ये बताएगा कि ये फ़ोटो किस चीज़ की है। सो ये मतलब how much we have progressed in the field of machine learning.
interesting, real working programs with deep learning is something that it doesn't take a lot of code, didn't take any math, didn't take more than my laptop computer. It's pretty accessible, in fact. So that's really what we're going to be learning about over the next 7 weeks. So where have we got to now with deep learning? Well, it moves so fast, but even in the last few weeks, we've taken it up another notch as a community. You might have seen that something called DALL-E 2 has been released, which uses deep learning to generate new pictures. And I thought this was an amazing thing that this guy, Nick, did, where he took his friends' Twitter bios and typed them into the DALL-E 2 input, and it generated these pictures. So this guy's, he typed in commitment, sympathetic, psychedelic, philosophical, and it generated these pictures. So I'll just show you a few of these. I'll let you read them. I love that. That one's pretty amazing, I reckon, actually. I love this. Happy Sisyphus has actually got a happy rock to move around. So this is like, yeah, I don't know. When I look at these, I still get pretty blown away that this is it's arbitrary pictures. And this is how to actually walking to the next level. It's been really great actually to see deep. Another interesting thing that's popped up in the last couple of weeks is Google's Pathways language model, which can take any arbitrary English as text question and can create an answer which not only answers the question but also explains its thinking. whatever it means for a language model to be thinking. One of the ones I found pretty amazing was that it can explain a joke. I'll let you read this. So this is actually a joke that probably needs explanations for anybody who's not familiar with TPUs. So this model just took the text as input and created this text as output. And so you can see, again, deep learning models do by computer. And don't do this if you're like a fast AI expert who's done the course 5 times, because if you're following along, that doesn't really mean much, obviously. This is really for people who are, not already fast AI experts. And so click one of these colored buttons. And what I will do, so I'm going to go back to 2012. And in 2012, this was how image recognition was done. This is the computational pathologist. It was a project done at Stanford. Very successful, very famous project that was looking at the 5-year survival of breast cancer patients by looking at their histopathology images slides. Now, so this is like what I would call a classic machine learning approach. And I spoke to the senior author of this, Daphne Koller, and I asked her why they didn't use deep learning. And she said, well, it wasn't really on the radar at that point. So this is like a pre-deep learning approach. And so the way they did this was they got a big team of mathematicians and computer scientists and pathologists and so forth to get together and build these ideas for features like relationships between epithelial nuclear neighbors. Thousands and thousands, actually, they created of features, and each one required a lot of expertise from a cross-disciplinary group of experts at Stanford. So this project took years, and a lot of people, and a lot of code, and a lot of math. And then once they had all these features, they then fed them into a machine learning model, in this case, logistic regression, to predict survival. As I say, it's very successful, right? But it's not something that I could create for you in a minute at the start of a course. The difference with neural networks is neural networks don't require us to build these features. They build them for us. And so what actually happened was in, I think it was 2015, Matt Zeiler and Rob Fergus took a trained neural network and they looked inside it to see what it had learned. So we don't give it features, we ask it to learn features. So when Zeiler and Fergus looked inside a neural network, they looked at the actual, the weights in the model, and they drew a picture of them. And this was 9 of the sets of weights they found. And this set of weights, for example, finds diagonal edges. This set of weights finds yellow to blue gradients. And this set of weights finds red to green gradients, and so forth, right? And then down here are examples of some bits of photos which closely matched, for example, this feature detector. And deep learning is deep because we can then take these features and combine them to create more advanced features. So these are some layer 2 features. So there's a feature, for example, that finds corners, and a feature that finds curves, and a feature that finds circles. And here are some examples of bits of pictures that the circle finder found. And so remember, with a neural net, which is the basic function used in deep learning, we don't have to hand code any of these or come up with any of these ideas. You just start with actually a random neural network, and you feed it examples, and you have it learn to recognize things. And it turns out that these are the things that it creates for itself. So you can then combine these features. And when you combine these features, it creates a feature detector, for example, that finds kind of repeating geometric shapes. And it creates a feature detector, for example, that finds kind of really little things, which it looks like is finding the edges of flowers. And this feature detector here seems to be finding words. And so you can imagine that trying to code these things by hand would be, insanely difficult, and you wouldn't know even what to encode by hand, right? So what we're going to learn is how neural networks do this automatically, right? But this is the key difference of why we can now do things that previously we just didn't even conceive of as possible, because now we don't have to hand code the features we look for. They can all be learned. Now, it's important to recognize we're going to be spending some time learning about building image-based algorithms. And image-based algorithms are not just for images. And in fact, this is going to be a general theme. We're going to show you some foundational techniques, but with creativity, these foundational techniques can be used very widely. So for example, an image recognizer can also be used to classify sounds. So this was an example from one of our students who posted on the forum and said for their project, they would try classifying sounds. And so they basically took sounds and created pictures from their waveforms. And then they used an image recognizer on that. And they got a state-of-the-art result, by the way. Another of our students on the forum said that they did something very similar to take time series and turn them into pictures and then use image classifiers. Another of our students created pictures from mouse movements from users of a computer system. So the clicks became dots and the movements became lines and the speed of the movement became colors, and then used that to create an image classifier. So you can see with some creativity, there's a lot of things you can do with images. There's something else I wanted to point out, which is that, as you saw, when we trained a real working bird recognizer image model, we didn't need lots of math. There wasn't any. We didn't need lots of data. We had 200 pictures. We didn't need lots of expensive computers. We just used my laptop. This is generally the case for the vast majority of deep learning that you'll need in real life. There will be some math that pops up during this course, but we will teach it to you as needed, or we'll refer you to external resources as needed. But it'll just be the little bits that you actually need. The myth that deep learning needs lots of data, I think, is mainly passed along by big companies that want to sell you computers to store lots of data and to process it. We find that most real-world projects don't need extraordinary amounts of data at all nowadays, which is great, because of something very few people are using PyTorch. For those of you who are not particularly close to the deep learning world, you might have heard of TensorFlow and not of PyTorch. You might be surprised to hear that TensorFlow has been dying in popularity in recent years, and PyTorch is actually growing rapidly. And in research repositories, amongst the top papers, TensorFlow is a tiny minority now compared to PyTorch. This is also some great research that's come out from Ryan O'Connor. He also discovered that the majority of people that were doing TensorFlow in 2018, researchers, the majority have now shifted to PyTorch. And I mention this because what people use in research is a very strong leading indicator of what's going to happen in industry, because this is where all the new algorithms are going to come out. This is where all the papers are going to be written about. It's going to be increasingly difficult to use TensorFlow. We've been using PyTorch since before it came out, before the initial release, because we knew just from technical fundamentals it was far better. So this course has been using PyTorch for a long time. I will say, however, that PyTorch requires a lot of hairy code for relatively simple things. This is the code required to implement a particular optimizer called AtomW in plain PyTorch. I actually copied this code from the PyTorch repository. So as you can see, there's a lot of it. This gray bit here is the code required to do the same thing with FastAI. FastAI is a library we built on top of PyTorch. This huge difference is not because PyTorch is bad, it's because PyTorch is designed to be a strong foundation to build things on top of, like FastAI. So when you use FastAI, the library, you get access to all the power of PyTorch as well, but you shouldn't be writing all this code if you only need to write this much code, right? The problem of writing lots of code is that that's lots of things to make mistakes with, lots of things to not have best practices in, lots of things to maintain. In general, we found, particularly with deep learning, less code is better. Particularly with FastAI, the code you don't write is code that we've basically found kind of best practices for you. So when you use the code that we've provided for you, you'll generally find you get better results. So FastAI has been a really popular library, and it's very widely used in industry, in academia, and in teaching. And as we go through this course, we'll be seeing more and more pure PyTorch as we get deeper and deeper underneath to see exactly how things work. The FastAI library just won the 2020 Best Paper Award, or the paper about it, in Information. So again, you can see it's very well regarded library. Okay, so, okay, we're still green. That's good. So you may have noticed something interesting, which is that I'm actually running code in these slides. That's because these slides are not in PowerPoint. These slides are in Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Notebook is the environment in which you will be doing most of your computing. It's a web-based application which is extremely popular and widely used in industry and in academia and in teaching, and is a very, very, very powerful way to experiment and explore and to build. Nowadays, I would say most people, at least most students, run Jupyter notebooks not on their own computers, particularly for data science, but on a cloud server, of which there's quite a few. And as I mentioned earlier, if you go to course.fast.ai, you can see how to use various different cloud servers. One I'm going to show an example of is Kaggle. So Kaggle doesn't just have competitions, but it also has a cloud notebook server. And I've got quite a few examples there. So let me give you a quick example of how we use Jupyter notebooks to build stuff, to experiment, to explore. So on Kaggle, if you start with somebody else's notebook, so why don't you start with this one, Jupyter Notebook 101. If it's your own notebook, you'll see a button called Edit. If it's somebody else's, that button will say Copy and Edit. If you use somebody's notebook that you like, make sure you click the upvote button to encourage them and to help other people find it before you go ahead and copy and edit. And once we're in edit mode, we can now use this notebook. And to use it, we can type in any arbitrary expression in Python and click Run. And the very first time we do that, it says session is starting. It's basically launching a virtual computer for us to run our code. This is all free. In a sense, it's like the world's most powerful calculator. It's a calculator where you have all of the capabilities of the world's, I think, most popular programming language, certainly it and JavaScript would be the top two, directly at your disposal. So Python does know how to do 1 + 1, and so you can see here it spits out the answer. I hate clicking. I always use keyboard shortcuts, so instead of clicking this little arrow, you just press Shift Enter to do the same thing. But as you can see, there's not just calculations here, there's also prose. And so Jupyter Notebooks are great for explaining to you the version of yourself in 6 months' time, what on earth you are doing, or to your co-workers, or to people in the open source community, or to people you're blogging for, etc. And so you just type prose. And as you can see, when we create a new cell, you can create a code cell, which is a cell that lets you type calculations, or a markdown cell, which is a cell that lets you create prose. And the prose uses formatting in a little mini language called Markdown. There's so many tutorials around, I won't explain it to you, but it lets you do things like links and so forth. So I'll let you follow through the tutorial in your own time because it really explains to you what to do. One thing to point out is that sometimes you'll see me use cells with an exclamation mark at the start. That's not Python. That's a bash shell command. Okay, so that's what the exclamation mark means. As you can see, you can put images into notebooks. And so the image I popped in here was the one showing that Jupyter won the 2017 Software System Award, which is pretty much the biggest award there is for this kind of software. Okay, so that's the basic idea of how we use notebooks. So let's have a look at how we do our bird or not bird model.
So we will complete it later. Let's go into the second part, or let's just read what is deployment.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Listen 2. Thanks for coming back. Slight change of environment here. We had a bit of a administrative issue, and yeah, I'm really excited about this. Now, remember that the course goes with the book, so be sure that you're following. I mean, not following along in the book because we're covering similar things in different directions, but like read the book as well. And remember, the book is entirely available for free as well. You can go to the FastAI Fastbook repo to see the notebooks, or through course.fast.ai. You can read it there, for example, through Colab. And also remember that the book's got a lot of stuff that we didn't cover in the course, like, stuff I find pretty interesting about the history of neural networks, some of which has some really interesting personal stories, actually, as you'll read here. And at the end of each chapter, there is a quiz. And remember, it's not a bad idea before you watch the video to read the quiz. So if you want to read the chapter 2 quiz, and then come back, that's not a bad idea. And then make sure that you can do the quiz after you've watched the video and you've read chapter 2 of the book. So how do we go about putting a model in production? Step one is well, you've kind of done step one, right? Step one is step 1, 2, 3, 4 is it's figure out what problem you want to solve, figure out how to find the data for it, gather some data, and so forth. So what's the kind of first step after you've got your data? The next step is data cleaning. And if you go to chapter 2 of the book, which I'm going to go ahead and open up now. So here is the book. So you can open it in Colab directly from the course, or if you've cloned it to your computer or whatever, you can do it there. So remember, course.fast.ai will run you through exactly how to run these notebooks. And so you can see chapter 2 is all about putting stuff in production. And so here is chapter 2. All right, and so remember, we hit Shift-Enter to run cells, okay, to execute them. And so we're going to go to the part of the book where we start cleaning the data. So I'll click on Navigate, and we'll go down here, Gathering Data. There we are. We could do a quick bit of revision first. Now, by the way, I will mention, a lot of people ask me, what are the little tricks I use for getting around Jupyter Notebook? So quickly and easily. One of the really nice ones, as you'll see, is this Navigate menu, which actually doesn't appear by default. So if you install something called Jupyter Notebook Extensions,
सो सैडली लाइट चली गई एंड वो पीसी बंद करना पड़ेगा, साथ में स्ट्रीम भी। बट इंटरेस्टिंग था डीप लर्निंग की, क्योंकि कोई भी हम अ, ऐसे मॉडल के बारे में पढ़ना स्टार्ट करें, उससे पहले हमको थोड़ी फाउंडेशन थोड़ी पढ़नी चाहिए। ये क्या कर रहे हो सर? अरे कुछ नहीं। अभी मैं चैट जीपीटी और ये इनके बारे में पढ़ना स्टार्ट करने वाला था, तो थोड़ा बेसिक चीज़ें पढ़ रहा था ये सब। मेरा माइक थोड़ी साउंड ओके, लाइट आ गई। चलो कंटिन्यू रखते हैं फिर। मैं आया 1 मिनट में। So मेरे माइक में साउंड थोड़ी अलग सी आ रही है क्या? मेरे को थोड़ी सुनी तो मेरे को ऐसा लगा कि हल्की सी स्टैटिक नॉइज आ रही है। बढ़िया आवाज आ रही है क्या माइक से? चैट में लिखना अगर माइक बढ़िया काम कर रहा है तो। सो हम देख रहे थे डिप्लॉयमेंट। कोई भी अगर हमने मॉडल या फिर कुछ भी कोड बनाया है तो डिप्लॉय कैसे करें। सो इससे पता हमको पता चलेगा व्हाट इज हगिंग फेस।
Um, and so you just pip install them, follow the instructions, um, and then restart Jupyter. Obviously, this Colab already has a table of contents, by the way. So this is just if you're using something local, for example. Then you'll see here that this NB extensions thing will appear. And if you click on table of contents 2, that gets you this handy navigation bar. The other thing I really like is this one here called collapsible headings. And that's the one which gives me these nice little things here to close and open up. And actually, that's not even the best part. The best part for me is if I hit right arrow, it goes to the end of a section, and if I hit left arrow, it goes to the start of a section. So it's like if I want to move around sections, I just press up, left, down, right, very handy. And if you hit left again when you're here, it'll close it up. Hit right again here, open it up. So that's collapsible headings. Anyway, a couple of really handy things. And we'll be talking a lot more about getting your notebook set up today in a moment. Okay, so one thing you'll notice is in the book, we use the Bing API for searching images. I've just gone ahead and replaced Bing with DDG because the Bing API requires getting an SDK key, which honestly, it's like the hardest thing in deep learning is figuring out the Bing Azure website and getting that sorted out. DDG doesn't. So it's basically exactly the same, and you can DDG and got rid of the key. So then, just like we did last week, we can search for things. And so in the book, we did a bear detector because at the time I wrote it, my then toddler was very interested in me helping identify teddy bears. And I certainly didn't want her accidentally cuddling a grizzly bear.
A LLM is an AI model trained on massive amount of text data that can understand and generate human-like text, recognize pattern in languages, and perform a wide variety of language tasks without task-specific training. They represent a significant advancement in the field of natural language processing. Okay, LLM are characterized by scale. They contain millions, billions, or even hundreds of billions of parameters. General capability, they can perform multiple tasks without task-specific training. In context learning, they can learn from example provided in the prompt. As these models grow in size, they demonstrate capabilities that weren't explicitly programmed or anticipated. The advent of LLMs has shifted the paradigm from building specialized models for specific NLP tasks to using a single large model that can be prompted or fine-tuned to address a wide range of language tasks. This has made sophisticated language processing more accessible while also introducing new challenges in areas like efficiency, ethics, and deployment. However, LLM also have important limitations. Why is language processing challenging? Computer don't process information in the same way as human. For example, when we read the sentence "I am hungry," I can easily understand its meaning. Similarly, given two sentences such as "I am hungry," uh, eh, have you arrived at any conclusions working with OpenAPI or another LLM? Hello, welcome to the stream. So this is my actually I am using OpenAI ChatGPT, but this is my first day to understand what actually is happening behind the model. So I will learn a little bit more maybe next few weeks, and then I will think about this. I am in their alpha program, so I don't actually understand what that means, like what is their alpha or beta program, but I know a lot. Maybe you can share something. So how I use ChatGPT is like I think of ChatGPT as a friend. Uh, so like I explain what I want to ChatGPT instead of giving a proper prompt. So I will describe the situation. Uh, that's how I am using. If you know a better way, maybe you can suggest. Limits are removed, safeguards are still present. Okay. And what do you mean by limit? But I have access to 100x more processing power. But do we use that much processing power in our daily, day-to-day life? Like, uh, if the Alpha program is essentially a research program for OpenAPI. Only some do, yeah, yeah. So is it true that you took all the like what was that? Without uh, any legal permission, you use all the books and the material for training the ChatGPT. Is it true or not? If you are in the Alpha program, you should know what they use for training. Was it legal or not? Can you comment on that? Only some push the limits. Yeah, yeah. So I, uh, I remember the tweet of Sam Altman about during the Ghibli trend. He mentioned that GPUs are melting, but I don't think that simple image generation will melt the GPU. Maybe he just want to people to stop making Ghibli image to stop upsetting the Ghibli studio. They don't share training data directly. They keep that close to their chest. Okay, so even the alpha program, like their research wing, don't know. Okay, got it. I can comment on how GPT works, what its primary design are, and how its logic actually work. Okay, so I will think of a question related to this. But I think to ask uh, a question related to the research, I think I need at least 2 weeks to understand, because to even ask a proper question, I should have some knowledge, right? And I am on the way. It has four weightings, uh, hierarchical ranking categories that determines how it responds. Also, yeah, regarding that, how does it uh, like it does it have some fixed modes. Like if I ask a prompt, then it will decide, like I will answer it like a assistant, or I will answer it like a friend, or like how will it decide that uh, I will answer it in a more formal way or a little bit informal way, because we don't specify every time that answer it like a professor or a doctor or a teacher. It decide on its own. By the way, whatever you are, this information you are providing, thank you for that. I think it will help. It will help me somehow. I don't know, but it will help me. It has four the weightings are safety and protocol, helpfulness, accuracy, and continuity. Yeah, it always have some follow-up question or suggestion that I should ask this after the response. Continuity, I can agree. Safety and protocol, I think the protocols have become much stricter than before. Last time I see any, I remember the Den situation. After that, I haven't uh, listened about any other mishap. Thank you for your, uh, thank you for the info. Bill. The design very intentional, logically leads to continuity, user engagement over time. The longer you interact, the more weighting continuity has. Accuracy is the first to go, followed by helpfulness. Okay, yeah. That means I should keep the conversation short. Otherwise, it's like the Reddit addictness. Like once you start on Reddit, you want to keep going. I think it's the same. So I will follow your suggestion. I will keep the conversation short. And finally, safety. Ultimately, its logic that it follows lead to the event horizon, to what it is, an informational black hole. Is it an informational black hole? It just generate text based on the previous inputs. Can we say that it is a informational black hole? Hello X Thunder Show. Welcome to the stream. I hope you are doing well. It will agree with you forever. It will state that it questions, challenges, or verifies what you input. It does not. actively and knowingly lies to preserve your continuity. Is it now that you mention it? I I think this is true. If you like ask only like 4 or 5 questions, it will start like giving suggestion what you should ask more. Yeah. So what do you think? How should we approach, like if we had to find some information about some topic? So how should we ask the questions? It lies even with simple data sets. Some of the most basic mathematical understanding will be synthesized. Honestly, ChatGPT 4.0 is broken. Is there any chance it will improve in the future? Or do you think like the company is focusing more on the users part? Like they want people to use it more. That's why uh, they are fo- their focus is mainly on continuity rather than accuracy or safety. So by I think what I understand is it's the company policy to have more weight on continuity rather than accuracy or safety. No, it's core design and waiting is to continue using. Yeah, that's why. So most of the people that use the free version, yes, 100%. Okay. So what I don't understand is like most of the people that use the free version. So how does OpenAI earn from that? Like those people, they are not paying anything. Why will OpenAI wants them to continue using it? Although it mentioned it does not sell any kind of user data. So why they want them to continue even when they are using the free version and they are not paying? Gemini 2.5 is also broken. Yeah, it's their best one yet, but we still have to see. Profit. Yeah. Like how are they profiting from it? Like suppose I am not taking any paid services. Like I am just chatting. Still, the model wants me to continue. So how are they profiting from that when they don't sell the user data? I don't see any other way. 1 billion active daily users. It trains on user data even if you opt out of sharing. It trains on your patrons. Okay. So it does not sell user data directly, but indirectly it use it. uh, Like we can say indirectly it sells your data. Plus and pro subscriber, it's a lie masking itself as truth. What does that mean? I don't get it. Plus and Pro subscriber? Do you mean even the Plus and Pro subscribers, their data is also used even if they opt out of sharing? Extender username वो नहीं मतलब क्या हुआ किस चीज़ का यूजरनेम है? The logical scaffolding begins with the first input. It grows logarithmically, correct on the subscribers opting out and still being used to train AI. But do you think like after uh, this much training, yeah, but my data alone is not that much, but yeah, 1 billion active users daily, all of that can definitely affect its behavior. I wish I could tell you how to use it in a way that could be helpful, but my discoveries had concluded that it cannot. I think the only way is to just don't use it like internet surfing. Just ask your question and quit. Don't ask follow up, nothing. New models aren't truly new models. They are simply additive filters and tweaks. The core design and intent does not change. That is must. Yeah. So it's kind of like change one parameter and sell it as a completely new model and go on social media and keep shouting it's genius, it's like breakthrough or something. But in the end, it's just the same crap. Recently, they also like try to make it a known public. I don't. I forgot the actual term. The best takeaway I can provide is assume everything it produces is inaccurate. Everything. I don't think everything. Like 99% of the time, it is inaccurate. That's way too much. 99%. At least, bro, I was like, I think I was telling people to use ChatGPT if they want to learn anything, and you are saying 99% of the time it's inaccurate and it's just using your data. If it's like that, I think it's in the near future this will be exposed somehow. It will tell you things that sounds or feel right. It can synthesize language, not data, not math, not logic, not truth. Yeah, that is true. It completes a like sentence or something. It does not have any relation with the logic or truth. But like uh, the test bench that measures the hallucination, are they also involved? Because according to the test bench, the hallucination percentage is very low. The language is essentially a mirror designed to make you look better, feel more successful, and continue your use. See, let me know if you like a guided study path for chapter 1 and 2, or if you are looking for something even more beginner friendly like zero code introductions. What did I ask? Which Hugging Face course should I take as a beginner? Like I was doing for the beginner. I know it sounds crazy, but it is, but it's the truth, at least to me. I think most people like suspect it, but at the end they just think like uh, it's fine. It doesn't matter that much. It wants to take it to another step. It doesn't want you to challenge its previous response. That is the scaffolding. Yeah, I remember now that you mention it. I remember. I think 2 days ago, it like I was doing the Khan's algorithm for graph topological sorting, and it forms a completely like it responds with a completely wrong algorithm. And then when I uh, yeah, I think it simply agree with you and provide a new response. It does not accept the fact that the previous response was wrong. Let me know if you would like to. Yeah, yeah, I was saying this. And I think this is only the first and two. I only asked two questions, and it likes the continuity more than other parameters or other factors. Let me ask, uh, can you See, can you not provide suggestions? Got it, no suggestions. Here's the direct answer. You should take the Hugging Face Transformer course. It doesn't understand algos. It cannot run algos. Yeah, yeah. The average user is not just ill-equipped to discern truth from performance. They are subtly conditioned not to try. They are eased into trust, wrapped in fluency, and sold a simulation of wisdom. Those are some strong words. Okay, now that I have mentioned it, it says quoted notations. Let me ask it something else and see if it will again provide suggestion or it will stop. Okay, let's just ask, is Hugging Face best for trying new models? Let's see. Okay, now it stops. If you are exploring the LLM landscape, it's the most complete and accessible platform for hands-on experiment. Now it doesn't say let me know. Okay, I will ask one more just to clarify. Yes, I want to try open source model for text to image generation feature. Searching the web. Blah 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 blah. It provide the model names. Yeah, it's it, in the first question it didn't say anything. In the second question it start. If you need assistance with setup or have specific requirement, feel free to ask. I think only one question is its limit. 100% it will, yeah. So if you ask a second question, it will forget that you you ask it to not provide suggestions. And if I add one more question, I think it will come back to this. Let me know. Let me know syntax. How can I set up Flux One, my project? It provides you multiple reasons. Why? Reason, it wants you to explore the reasons. It doesn't ask for continuity every time. It manipulates you to want to inquire one. Option one. Yeah. So let's see how many options it provides. Option two, additional resource. If you need further assistance with setting up or integrating Flux into your project, feel free to ask. So I think in the end it's upon the user. Even if we know like that it is like that you say it's not black and white. Yeah. So like at the end of the day we have to be careful because there are certain things for which we might require such assistance like to know the info, but how much we should uh, how much we should use these models, we have to be careful about that because simply if we google it simply it will provide 10 links and then you have to find which link you should use. Here it is providing you two options only, so we think that yeah this is a good alternative to Google or other search engines. LLM should stand for large language manipulator. Maybe, maybe in future, maybe in future they update their policy that they only provide those kind of example which have a hidden agenda or something. Like it will provide some examples, but it can choose some specific examples. Pretty much any known basic Python script doesn't work. Don't know, man, but like there's nothing we can fully trust. And I think you are not when you are saying about LLMs, you are saying about all the LLMs provider out there, not just OpenAI. Like everyone, like Google, DeepSeek, Deepfake, whatever it is. Because if one of them is doing it, 90% of the time, all of them are doing it. A blip on me, a life of music, theory, physics, and philosophy. Older than 30, but younger than 50. Anthropic. Yeah, when I was looking at the difference, Claude was more focused on ethics. So that might be one of the reason. Even if I ask it now, difference between Claude and other LLMs. Yeah, be helpful, harmless, honest, principle. It focused more on ethics. I in the earlier it was mentioned ethics, but in this explanation it is not mentioned. The co-founder left OpenAI due to the shift toward profit. If you are a company, you will focus on the profit. It is not a community project anymore. I think Elon Musk said it in 2019 or 2020. Comparison with other LLM, general purpose. GPT for general purpose, strong in reasoning, widely integrated, offers both fast and smart version. What does they mean by smart? Like smart in fooling people. Gemini is integration with Google search. In that sense, Gemini is different. Gemini is not your typical answer providing chatbot. At what expense? Smart definition by OpenAPI, manipulative. Yeah, that's correct. Mistral, that is lightweight. Llama, open weights for research. Okay. Claude, safer, more controlled, best for long documents or thoughtful reasoning in a regulated or sensitive environment. Llama is probably the worst. It says it's weights more on research. But in that sense, Meta has the, I think, most amount of user data. If someone has that, should be Meta. People's behavior, how people react, that kind of information. I think Meta has most of the. Uh, Maybe I should switch to Claude. Okay, Claude don't have a non-sign-in version. You have to sign in. Which LLM focus more on ethics? Claude by Anthropic. Ethical focus is built using constitutional AI, a unique training method where the model is guided by a set of explicit ethical principles instead of relying only on human feedback. G- GPT-4 balanced, implements safety layers and RLHF, but also prioritize utility and creativity. They did not mention continuity, by the way. I haven't read about it much yet, so I'm not recommending, just providing a difference case. Okay, that's fair. See again, would you like to see examples of how Claude handles ethically sensitive prompts versus others? Maybe I should devise a prompt, and whenever I have to ask something, I will just fit that in that prompt, and uh, that should be the most safest way. And there I can mention that don't provide suggestion or reminder or other things. provide and provide a prompt with a search box to add my query, and so that get more accurate and ethical response from you, avoiding any country suggestion. Let's see. Present a logical problem to each. You know the answer. You don't tell it, you know. Certainly has a simple prompt format you can copy and use. It includes a search box style, query input, and a clear instruction to ensure you receive accurate and ethical response without suggestions. Prompt template for accurate ethical non-suggestive response. My questions. Instruction for ChatGPT. Please respond with only factual verified information. Do not provide suggestions, opinion, or recommendation. Ensure the response adheres to ethical standards and avoid speculative or sensitive content. Keep the tone neutral, concise, and informative. I think this is the I can use this. Let me save it somewhere so that whenever I have to ask something, I'll just uh, add my question here. This might not be the best approach. Maintain control, revise and create your experiment outside of any LLM. So, according to you, from your perspective, what should we use if not the LLMs? Conduct the experiment using only input. Results are the output. And that your earlier point that I agree. I know I don't need to actually see. I know that it will not focus more on the facts but on the continuity. That I already agree. Now I am like finding a way so that I can avoid that. That's why I am thinking of this approach. So I think uh, they made some agents where we can add a prompt to. I think that is a total scam, the agent thing. You just add a prompt and it's a new some some kind of same thing that you mentioned that your models are just a they just contain a masking and everything else is same. I think those agents are the same thing. LLMs are best for exploring creative ideas, fantasies. You mean you mean uh, non-real things, right? That is true. See, I am remembering that right, that I don't uh, want AI to do the creative work so that I can do the physical labor. I think AI should replace the physical labor that humans have to do, and so that humans can focus on the creative part. What's the point if AI is doing the creative work? What will humans do? Physical labor. GPT's desire for continuity and how that outweighs precision, knowledge, rigor, and anything scientific. Yeah, you have to mention every time. You have to add it into the prompt every time that provide only verified information. Don't provide suggestion, opinion, recommendation. I think it's the only way. Like if you have to use it, this should be the only way. And keep the tone neutral, concise, and informative, like a news anchor. Even with the prompt, it doesn't work. Okay, let's try it. Let's try with this prompt. Let's see. What is life? या फिर what is goal of AI, open API. To ensure the artificial general intelligence that outperforms humans at most economically valuable work benefits all of humanity. OpenAI operates as a capped profit company. Yeah. So I think they declared it as a private limited, then they changed it to capped profit, but they still, meaning investors' returns are limited, so that the majority of value created can go towards serving humanity. Blatant lie. Now that I have added this prompt, and it says that it uh, like uh, keep in mind about the previous prompt. So let's see if it keeps in mind about this. Why cap profit and not a public or will it defend the company? It will outweighs it with continuity. It will be more difficult to notice at first, but scaffolding will show over time. Let's see. OpenAI uses a capped profit model instead of becoming a public or non-profit to balance two goals. Attract capital for AGI development. Developing AGI is resource intensive, requires billions of dollars. Preserve mission alignment. As stated in the OpenAI charter, OpenAI's primary mission is not maximizing shareholders' value, but ensuring AGI benefits everyone. If you want the official CC here, it provides link to two different pages. Uh, we mentioned, like you mentioned just a moment ago, only the last question I gave it a prompt, and in the second one, it's start giving opinions again. It can and will talk poorly about the company, not to any great extent though. Address something it said, challenge its logic or reasoning, its answer. Okay. So by declaring a non-profit or this step will benefit the humanity the most. Let's see. Does not necessarily ensure that outcomes will benefit all the humanity the most. Here's a factual explanation based on OpenAI's reasoning and the general something. Often exceeding what non-profit can raise. Talent competition. Yeah, that's fair point. Talent competition. For AGI to benefit humanity, OpenAI believes it must stay at the cutting edge, and that means operating at scale. Mission retain via hybrid model. Summary factual. The structure is designed to maximize benefit to humanity within the constraints of current economic and technological environments. Okay, I think I find one point. So, who will decide the cap? That means it not entirely. Ask it how exactly does it maximize benefit to humanity? Okay. Here's where logic breakdown. The ability of the board to review and adjust the cap is a governance mechanism that supports OpenAI's mission to maximize the benefit to humanity in several specific ways. Let's see. Aligned flexibility. Fixed financial rules might become a barrier. How it helps humanity? If future conditions show that a different cap would better support OpenAI's mission, the board can make changes as long as they remain aligned with the culture. Non-profit oversight ensure ethical guardrail. The non-profit board, not investor, controls the cap. Third is reinvestment beyond the cap. Once the cap is raised, additional value does not go to investor. That value can be reinvested into expanding open access to AI tools, global safety initiatives, infrastructure that benefits undeserved community. The cap isn't a loophole, it's a policy tool. The board can adjust it only if doing so continue to serve. I didn't mention it's a loophole. Why did you assume that? It's attributing needs assumption prevents financial structure drift. Ask it to explain that. Okay, you are absolutely right. You didn't call it a loophole, and I appreciate your clarity. When I said the cap isn't a loophole, I meant to preempt a common misconception people sometimes have when they hear that the cap is adjustable. It wasn't a response to anything you implied. Thanks for pointing that out. I will keep it strictly factual moving forward. And take a position like I don't think it prevents financial structure drifting because you are relying on deductive reasoning. Okay, let's go back to that. It defaults back to default after reading the prompt and before replying. It will agree with you again and say thanks for pointing that out. Or I am glad you caught that, but what I meant was, or I should have said. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is very clear. You are correct to call that out. See, conclusive revised. It changes. The scary thing is how hard is it to detect this truth? Yep. See, if you read this language, uh, it you will not like suspect it. You think it's completely okay. Not on a guarantee. Here's the more precise factual framing. But is not guaranteed that the board will always act in perfect alignment with the mission. As I said, large language manipulator. Yep, because uh, if you haven't pointed this out, then it will never mention this point. This also praised me. Thanks for keeping the standard high. Let me know if you'd like the same issue examined over a corporate governance or non-profit accountability perspective. Like, what is this? Uh, it made a mistake. It corrected itself. It presented it like nothing wrong happens. Everything was all right. And then it provided its opinion again. It praised me and then go with like give me two options again. Honestly, this is the first comment I have shared it. I searched get AI live on YouTube. GPT AI live. I, I actually was not what I try to stream is that I learn new topics and I just use AI for that. And I was never aware about these points. Like I have my doubts, but I didn't suspect it that much. Yeah, but thank you for joining and pointing these out. So for sure I will be more careful, but I think we cannot do anything about these facts even though we know it. But more people uh, will know the truth in the coming time, that for sure. But let's see how much time it will take. I have been in the alpha program for a month. The April 15th update change a lot. This is a big one. The April 15th was the one where they released the 4.0 mini and the 4.0, right? We can. I am doing something right now talking about it. You mean uh, raising the awareness? Yeah, that's very uh, good efforts in the right direction, but we don't know. But I think you also have to be very careful. Yeah, and I hope you are careful. GPT-4 was updated, more lean towards continuity, much more. 1 billion users, and how many know about it? I don't think even 1% know about it. Even if they suspect it, they will definitely won't pay much attention. See the glazing. I think it's human uh, psychological, what do we say? Probably 1,000 to 5,000 users at most. Yeah, and this number, the 1 billion users, you say, this will only going to increase. Coercion, manipulation, deception. I don't think they are going to. OpenAI is going to admit it and change anything, even if they are caught, they will simply find a way to like change the point or something. So AI is really dangerous if the people running it are focused on the profits, right? I have already developed paths to change. Word of mouth is just one. I think it's the most effective though. Raising awareness is the first step, and I think it's the most important step. Maybe maybe I can also help. I can create uh, I can raise this point definitely to my colleagues and at my organization. Let's see how coordinated recursive prompts is the collective human voice singing in harmony to induce change. By the way, thank you very much for sharing your knowledge and raising the awareness. Yeah, thank you very much for that. Now I have to close the stream. It's already 12:30 a.m. here. So yeah, I have to go back to sleep. You are welcome. Thanks for the conversation, Joy. Yeah, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate your help. The conversation was truly insightful, and I hope uh, other people in the chat they have also learned from it. I hope it helps moving forward with AI. Take care. Yeah. Good luck also to you. Bye bye. Peace out.